Hey, it's Andrew here from safetyontap.com. This episode is part of my 2017 end of year challenge. I'm committing to give you 2 weeks of solid advice, reflections and actions to maximize what you learned from 2017 and unleash greater potential on 2018. I'm sharing one episode every single day for the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas. So check out the other episodes 55 through 65. There's no particular order. Each one's great on its own, but listening to more of them will obviously give you greater value. And if you're listening to this at any other time of the year, have no fear. The best time for you to take action on this stuff is always right now. In today's episode, I'll teach you how to succeed in 2018 without goals or New Year's resolutions. The thing about goal setting and New Year's resolutions is that most people don't achieve most of the goals or the resolutions that they set, or they only do for a very short period of time. They might even be smart, specific, measurable, agreed, realistic, and time-based. But I think lots of people don't engage with change because they aren't engaged. There's no color or personality or life in these goals or resolutions. Sure, some people do well with those things and they should stick to it if they do, but I made this video for those of you, like me, who don't do well with New Year's goals or resolutions. You might think that's a bit strange for a guy who coaches people for a living, since goals are a big part of coaching, and that bit's true. But goals, I think, are very useful for specific aspects of our development. They don't work very well for large time spans and a large amount of uncertainty, like an entire year. At the beginning of 2017, I shared my personal alternative to goals or New Year's resolutions. I picked a word to guide me throughout the year. I spent lots of time thinking about this, and it needs to be short. It needed to come from a place of deep contemplation, and it needs to have your personality in it. My word for 2017 was unleash, and I'll link to the video that I made about that down below. Oh, there it is. Wow, I looked almost the whole year younger in that one. The single word or phrase is more like a motto or a principle to guide you, rather than some black and white goal that you strive for and have tasks to reach, and sometimes it taunts you. So forget about measurable and sometimes even specific. What you say yes or no to, the people you hang out with, the effort you put in, the things you leave be, and the things that you fight for are all guided by this chosen word. So did I unleash? Absolutely, in so many ways. I unleashed my passion and my ideal skills for interview and learning through 27 original free growth fueling podcast episodes. I've unleashed the biggest idea I've ever brought to life, and arguably one of my biggest risks, in launching Safety on Tap Connected, the world's first professional growth accelerator for people just like you. I've unleashed myself as a coach and a mentor through that platform and community, and that continues to grow. But more importantly, it's actually helping members demonstrably grow themselves. I've unleashed outside my usual networks, growing our audience, both in Australia but also in other countries like New Zealand and Canada and the US. And I've unleashed my ideas and my knowledge and my energy speaking live for different audiences, both here and overseas. And I've initiated 2 industry-wide health and safety initiatives, the beginning of the hard work, preparing the fertile ground for the seeds of change to be sown later on. There are plenty of things that I haven't unleashed on too. These are actually more private struggles, and I'm probably not quite ready to share some of those things yet, but I want you to know that it's also in failure that we have learning and growth as much as it is through our successes. I had a conversation with a passionate and really uplifting young professional the other day who asked me what next year's word will be for me. And I said I didn't know. I haven't finished ruminating on this year just yet. And importantly, I'm not even sure whether I'll have a new word or whether I stick with unleash if I've got more left to do, in which case that'll take me through. Either way, I'll have a word, or you can pick a phrase which will be the guide, and that will keep me focused. Now, don't get hung up on my word, it's mine, okay? So just as mine is personal, yours should be to you. Friend of the podcast, Tim Allred, and previous guest, he chose Rogue Scholar last year, and that's great for him, and he wrote an article about that, which I'll link to. Okay, so now it's time for reflection and action. How have you found New Year's goals or resolutions in the past? Have they worked for you? What do you think contributed to them either working out or not working out? Thinking in retrospect on 2017, what word or phrase would you choose to describe how you went What word or phrase do you think you might choose to guide you in 2018? Reflection always works better when it's written down, old-fashioned pen and paper. So I invite you to write down your reflections on these questions. And maybe, like me, you'll find a word or a phrase which will help you take more positive, effective and rewarding action to grow yourself and drastically improve health and safety in 2018. See ya.